Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of the People's Podcast, Off the Record of the People's Podcast. This evening, we have three wonderful panelists, and I look forward to hearing their amazing feedback. Can somebody turn it, maybe on your phone? Can somebody turn their phone down? Okay, phone. Okay, so the first thing we want before we get started, I can hear myself. Can somebody turn the phone down? Okay, well, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to give us some information as well as inspiration. First of all, assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, and with you three, you all are siblings. This is amazing to hear, to have you all come together and to hear your amazing story in this aspect. First of all, I'm going to start with Sister Mariam, the oldest. Could you please introduce yourself, ma'am?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sister Mariam from Puerto Peñasco, Mexico.
Okay, beautiful. And Brother Salahuddin.
My name is Brother Salahuddin Muhammad, and born Phoenix, Arizona, and currently residing in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm 30 years old.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, Brother Salahuddin. And Brother Umar. I can't hear you. We can't hear you, Brother Umar. Brother Umar, we can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Might be on mute.
Okay, then. Yeah, I think his mic might be on mute. Can you hear me? Can't hear you. Okay, while we're waiting on Brother Umar to get the microphone situated, we'll start with you, Sister Mariam.
Yes, sir.
You being the oldest in this world, what was that like with the peer pressure, being a young woman, going through puberty and things of that nature, and abstaining from sex?
It was difficult from the outside world, I would say. I was home inside of my little bubble with my brothers and my mother. That's what she always taught. That's what was forced. So it was much easier. But when I went to school and when I went to different places with my friends, it was like, oh, girl, you're not doing that yet. And, so it was like you were trying to, you wanted to speak up and say, this is what I believe. But it was like, you didn't want to be mocked. So it was, you try to put a creative spin on why you abstaining from sex. But even sometimes in the mosque, it was kind of looked at like, something was kind of wrong with you because you were practicing what we should have been practicing with, So it was difficult to extent, but I always had a very strong foundation and a very strong support in my brothers, my mother, and my surrounding family to help.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. My next question for you. Let's come back to Brother Umar. I'm coming to you, Brother Salahuddin. Brother Umar, is your mic back?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Okay, you can introduce yourself now, sir.
All right, this is Umar with the sword. Something like a family, Umar Muhammad, 26 years old, from Buffalo, New York, and Phoenix, Arizona right now.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for holding down, Brother Umar, on this important subject. Brother Salahuddin, first of all, I want to say that it's an honor to interview you all because I didn't know you, Sister Mariam, but I had the honor of holding posts with your brothers and working with them and training with Brother Rashad in Chicago. And it's just been an honor to soldier with you all. So it's good to see you here because we all soldier together. Okay, Brother Salahuddin, young man, put me on now. There's a lot of young men out here waiting, to understand. How did you survive, bro?
Man, first of all, I will say that by the grace of Allah, you know what I'm saying? But it started with you making up your mind Is this what I'm going to do? Is this what I believe in? You know what I'm saying? And then going on that journey and starting that journey, it was to just to be frank with you, it was hard as hell. It was hard as hell.
Yes, sir.
It was very difficult. But it's that exact difficulty for you doing something in the way of Allah that brings you closer to Allah. You know, so I would just say you have to make up your mind for starters, and then going on the journey. And just because the journey get difficult, it doesn't mean to surrender or succumb or just stop. And even if you fall, you can still get back up and continue. You know, don't just waddle. So that's just what I would say. It was hard. It was difficult. I felt like going through fire, but you can do it. Allah wouldn't have asked us to do it if we can't.
Beautiful, yes, sir. And brother Umar, the youngest brother, how did you survive, the peer pressure and hormones? How did you survive?
Yes, sir. Just making sure my mic is working again. Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, man, to be honest with you, like my brother said, I have to give all the praise to Allah. But for me, it was struggles in different areas. It wasn't so much abstaining from intercourse. It was just abstaining from just the opportunity to do so. It was like, we not going on dates all like that. If I'm trying to take a girl to the movies that I approached or something, we know how that night is going to turn out. Even if it don't end up in a bedroom, something's going to happen in the dark theater, we in the back room, so it's like things like that, to be honest with you. And I think that because of the family that I came up last, that I had two examples, my brother, where with me, it really didn't feel like a choice. It didn't feel like, it was like it got hard sometimes, but it was never another option. It was just like, oh man, this is difficult, but that's the end of it. Like a father that's taking care of his children. It's not, I can't pay these bills. It's okay. That's all I think about, but you don't think about the children or getting rid of them so you can have more money in your pocket. I mean, some people might, but for the most part, you probably won't get that reaction. So the thing with this, no matter how difficult it became, it really was never a second option. And I think that the people that came before me, I was looking at, and I had no excuse to go a different way.
Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties here.
Brother Joshua, you there?
Now, you still hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
It says he's not in here.
Okay. It sounded like he said we was having some technical difficulties. It's only 3 participants, so.
Okay.
Okay, he's writing me now.
All right.
Okay, so he said he's coming back. Keep talking.
Oh snap!
He said the Wi-Fi is acting up. Okay. Well, I guess to keep talking. Well, you know, this kind of reminds us when we did the Save Yourself um, seminars at Savor Say, you
Hmm.
know, and why we did them. You know, it wasn't to boast or say, yeah, look at us, you know, we made it or we did it. It was just to really open up that platform of that conversation that seems like it's such taboo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I was some of the youth. It was a sister there, and specifically, I remember her saying that, you know, even if I wanted to go down that path, and I came to my mom and said, "Oh, mom, I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about how to abstain myself from sex." She said her mother was like, "Oh, no, 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 I don't want to, you know, I don't want to talk about that," or, you know, the ever classic read Quran, or, you know, go in a room and pray. And it's like
Right.
it's more than that. It's definitely conversations, you
Yep.
know, and even just thinking about, you know, mom started us off really young, you know, talking about this. So it wasn't like something that we just kind of popped into, like, oh God, you got a feeling, you know.
It says he's in here now.
Right.
Hey, he's back.
Thank you all,
Yes, he's
family.
in.
Thank you all very much. Listen. The enemy don't want this one to get out. Okay, boom. Okay, boom. So right here with it. Okay. I see a lot of the comments and I see a lot of stuff that's going. Thank you all very much for your patience. Okay, my question to you, Sister Mary, is I'm coming back to you. What advice would you give to the young women and the young sisters who are having, these feelings?
The advice that I would give to them is, I know a lot, because like I was saying during the break, I was saying that a lot of the youth were saying that their parents were saying, "Oh, read the Quran and, you know, to pray." Prayer is very important. It's very important. But I have to kind of take it back to what my brother Salahuddin said when he said that it has to be a made up mindset, and then find like-minded people, because you know how the term is birds of a feather flock together. If you hanging around people who don't value what you value, then is you're defeating the whole purpose, you know. So you definitely have to talk to like-minded people. And like I said, I was very blessed. My mother talked to us very early about that. We was able to go to her with any feelings or concerns or questions we had. I was able to go to my brothers, you know, and get that strength from them. So I would definitely say to find like-minded people. And even if you form a group or a chat or a text line or something, find those people who value what you value, and y'all be strong together.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. I'm coming to you, Brother Salahuddin, and right, brother. I want to read some of the comments. Beautiful. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My sisters, Brother Shakir, Sister Robin, Brother Joseph, Brother Shane. Thank you all very much for this topic, the youth, and thank you, Shakir, for your worthy comments, Sister Mariah. I'm coming back to your comments, Sister Mariah. Okay, Brother Salahuddin, for the young men who are going through puberty and feeling these feelings, what advice would you give them as far as the benefit of waiting?
Man, boy, do I have some advice. You know, one thing I will say is the basic surface. When you don't endeavor in these type of activities, right? When you following, whether you a Christian, Muslim, Jew, we all taught that element. You know what I'm saying? Wait till marriage. You know, and besides the obvious, you know, you don't have to worry about going out getting some woman pregnant and then this woman making your life miserable for the rest of your life. You know what I'm saying? Trying to, oh, you got to do this, oh, like on the Medea movie where that girl, little Bow Wow, he had got the girl pregnant. Byron,
Irene.
Byron.
Irene.
so So it's like, you don't got to worry about that. You don't got to worry about no STDs. You don't got to worry about somebody playing you, or you playing somebody in that way and some woman seeking revenge on you. You know what I'm saying? It is a lot of obvious benefits that people who are active in this manner, who don't make commitments, they have a whole heap of problems. Even if one may not have the problems as this one, it's a whole things that you open yourself up to that will give you trouble, that will give you hell. And now on a different aspect, on a different note, if you refrain from sexual activity, right, you can actually begin to accumulate sexual energy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just, I'm not talking spooky or nothing. It's just sexual energy. Just like if you're mad at somebody, that's energy. You know what I'm saying? And you can accumulate this energy and you can actually take it and utilize it and convert it into power. You know what I'm saying? Quite literally, where I'll just hit on this because this is a whole subject lecture. So I'll just hit on this. Have you, Brother Joshua, you still there, right?
Yes, I'm right here with you.
Have you seen Bruce Lee's 2-finger push-up where he would do a push-up on just this right here? Now, it takes some people 50 days to do that. It takes some people 2 years. It could take some people 10 years to train the fingers to be able to do a feat of strength like that. When I was practicing sexual abstinence, I stumbled upon books and various knowledge on how to take that energy when you're not releasing it and wasting it. And I was able to do that in about 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks versus 2 years. You see what I'm saying? And that's not all. And it can be used for other things. You might be a spiritual person. You might practice meditation, practice astral projection. That energy can be used to excel you in whatever you are endeavoring in, whether it's a spiritual activity or a physical activity. You can be stronger, faster, more focused. But those are my benefits that I will tell you about. But, you know, for the sake of time, you know what I'm saying?
Even with the, sorry to cut in, even with the boxers, how they withstand from sex before, they have a big fight, because like you said, that energy, all that stuff works together,
Right. And you can amplify it, because boxers, they know any man and any type of athlete, even if you're a woman, you refrain from sex. It gives you a degree of strength, but you can actually amplify it in a supernatural type way. That's the point I was trying to make. But I give it back to you, Brother Joshua. I ain't trying to,
No, we're learning. And Brother Umar, I'm coming to you. And I wanted to just thank you all for the comments and follow up. One of my favorite defensive players of all time, Lawrence Taylor, is a linebacker. I like Ray Lewis is my favorite defensive player, but Lawrence Taylor said that when he would play against opposing running backs, he would send prostitutes to their rooms the day before the game to have sex with them to make them weaker before the day before the game. So I understand what you all are saying. Okay. Brother Umar, what about you, sir? What advice would you give to the young people who are battling, young men specifically, who are battling this?
Well, one of the things that I would say is everybody that I came up with that was aware that I was attempting to do this, and they were attempting to do it, but they never really pledged it, but they were just, doing it because in the meantime, they still had their virginity and everything. Once they lost it, all of them say, man, I wish I still had it. Oh, that's good that you're doing that. I wish I never lost mine. So like my brother was saying, it's a slew of things that come along with that. You know, we was just reading in FOI class when it was talking about sex is like an intoxicant, and it can blur your thinking and make you feel one way about somebody, and really it's just lust, and you think that it's love, and 2 weeks later the marriage is over. You know, so it's definitely it's it's like saying, would you drink beer before taking the test? It's like no. Or drive a car before, I mean, drink beer before driving the car. It literally will skew your thinking and blur your mind to make poor decisions. So that would be one thing that I would say. And something else that I see as well is it's like a rabbit hole. Once you start to knock on that door and you open it up, you fall down into a downward spiral, you know, because it's more than just, oh, this is somebody I love and I plan on marrying and I'm sleeping with them. Usually that's where the rebellion comes in. And I'm speaking about Muslims or any religion. This is usually when the rebellion starts to creep in, when you start getting that experience with the opposite sex. Then drugs follow, then freakish behavior follows, then rebellion to your family follows, rebellion to God follows, and then most people go through this stage. I put it in a song before, because I am a rapper. Check me out on YouTube, Umar the Successor. Had to shout myself out. but but I put it in the old song when I was saying that I didn't have to go through hell to appreciate heaven. So a lot of us don't know what we're looking at until we're not looking at it anymore and we miss it. And so that's just I feel like that's the beginning to rebellion to God. I mean, clearly it is, because God said to wait until marriage. So that is rebellion, but it goes further on to other rebellious behaviors to God. You really keep your innocence longer, you know, even down to the way you start to carry yourself. You can start to see when somebody changes, when they start having that experience. Oh, I remember this little brother, and yeah, I remember him. And then once they're 16, 17, 18, and it's a difference between growing and maturing and growing in the world. You can see that difference. And usually sex is the number one cause of that outside exploration, outside of the law of Allah. So I would, that would be my benefits that I would say. You know, you keep that innocence, and you can make better decisions.
Perfect, beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And I want to thank you all again. I'm coming to get so many comments. I'm coming to you, Sister Maryam, and then back to you, Brother Salahuddin. I just wanted to bear witness. I'm coming to your question, Elijah. I just want to bear witness to another aspect of it, because you all did wait. But for those who didn't wait, like many people, there's this thing called guilt and shame that comes along with it once you finish. And sometimes that people don't ever recover from that. It can be not just from a man's standpoint. If you take a girl's virginity and then you don't end up being with her, that carries weight. And for the woman who does give her virginity up, trust me, you all, when after you've done it, then and you don't end up with that man, sometimes that woman they shame themselves. It's not even to the public. It's nothing else. You feel a guilt. It's inside of you that sometimes only God and therapy can heal. So that's another reason as well. Okay, so Brother Elijah, quick question for you. Brother Elijah had a question. I'll come to each individual. What age did you get married, Sister Maryam?
I was 20 years old when I got married.
Praise be to Allah. And did you feel like this is Brother Elijah saying, did you feel like being abstinent rushed you into the marriage?
No, I don't feel that way, because what that wasn't my only concern when finding a mate. That wasn't like my soul just, oh my God, so I need this so bad, I'm so sexually frustrated, let me just pull the first person I see and get married to them. So that wasn't my,
I
even
bear
though it was
witness.
a factor, and even though there on my mind, it wasn't like it was, back in the woods somewhere. No, it was definitely there, but that wasn't the only thing that I was looking for in a mate. So A lot of times when I talk to boys that was talking to me at the age and they're interested in me, the first thing out the gate was, one, I'm a Muslim. That scared about half of them away. And then two was, I don't do anything, I don't have sex before marriage. And out of all the people I talked to, one was worthy. And so that's, after he was tested in other areas, we got married 2 years after courting, and here we are 12 years later.
Praise be to Allah. And I want to say, for those who don't know Sister Mariam, just by me going to her Facebook page, she has a beautiful family and a lot of children, and that's amazing. So may Allah continue to bless you. Brother Salahuddin, I'm coming to you, sir, with the same question from Brother Elijah. What age did you get married?
I got married at the age of 26.
Yes, sir.
I was 26.
Okay, beautiful. And do you feel like being abstinent rushed you into marriage?
No, not at all. And two things. One of the things along the journey of sexual restraint, and I can speak for my sister, I can speak for my brother on this. After a while, your body start to become used to it. And you can call it whatever you want. I like to call it a degree of mastery. You're not just, I want to talk to this girl. I'm married. You'll go through that at first, but if you just restrain and have, good foundation and people around you, like my mother used to tell me, she used to say, there was a time I was talking to this fast woman, I should say in her language. She was like, I was like 17. She was like older than me. Okay. And way more experience to somebody that have no experience at all. And my mother, now son, you get with a woman like this, your daughters are going to be like that. Is that what you want? No, mom, not really. Okay. So you have people with you, helping you, you know what I'm saying? Letting you know, like, I know you want to be with somebody naturally, you know what I'm saying? You can't wait, but you have good people around you, and you'll know if you really analyze the situation. Why do I like this person? Oh, because I like the way they walk. I'm gonna marry them because I like the way they walk. I like the way when they talk. I like the way their lips look, so I'm gonna marry them. When you really look at it like that, you can almost check yourself. You could check yourself like, yo, you know what? And I had from 13 to, when the hormones really started coming, to 26, I had plenty of times and opportunities to get with somebody that was not good for me just based off being desperate. And I didn't. I waited. I didn't settle. And Allah blessed me to get exactly what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? So that will be my answer to that. No, you can let it dictate you. You can't let your own hormones dictate you into getting into a marriage. You know what I'm saying? That'll wind up being a disaster. Or you can exercise your own restraint, which will later on, and like I said, I'll speak for them too. We all got to a point where we just were composed. We wanted to be with somebody, but we became composed where we can think through all that. We could think through the hormones.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And you're getting a lot of comments, and I'm coming back, and I'm coming to you. Before I get to you, Brother Umar, I want to say that in the street, or in the underworld, if you will, especially I'm from Naperville, but being closer to Chicago and talking and studying pimps, a lot of the best pimps that people study, like on go follow me. These pimps, that their books and their movies, and there's just me studying them. People who are good with women, the best pimps were the most disciplined women. They didn't have sex with all people. People who couldn't control their lower desires. They looked at them tricks and simps. They could get tricked into anything by a woman. But the most successful pimps in movies and books and people who I was looking at who were masters, they understood how to be disciplined, not to get thrown off by the women. So boom, Brother Umar.
Wow.
To your question, what age did you marry your spouse?
Yes, sir.
What age did you marry your spouse?
I got married at 23. And the second part of that question, I never felt like it was a rushed factor. In fact, when I met my wife, this might be a story for another time, but when I met my wife, I wrote a song about it. I was saying I didn't really like her, like in that way at all. And, I really felt like Allah was bringing us together, and to the point where I was actually praying to Allah, asking Him why was He. It felt like He was literally pushing us together, and I got a response back from that prayer. And like I said, that might be a story time, but yeah. So just saying all that to say, I never felt like I rushed into anything. And my brother and I actually was blessed to be able to sit and talk with the minister when he was out here visiting in Phoenix, and he was talking to both of us. I was just quiet the whole time. I was so nervous to be around the minister. I don't even know if he was talking to me, but I was there. so he told us, he said, don't worry about the wife will come. And shortly after that, my wife and my brother's wife, we already knew them, but same day we went to a gathering for my cousin, and his wife was there and my wife there. And from then on, it was just like, we went into the courtship and everything, and then the marriage. And it was just very interesting the way it all happened, especially right after the minister had said that the wife will come. I don't want to say predicted, because, when he's speaking, it's not predictions. It's a lot speaking,
Yes,
so, but just, I'm kind of going off top. The point is, I feel like I rushed into it. In fact, to be honest with you, I got to the point when I was out with my mom, maybe living in I was like, man, you really don't know who you marry. It's very scary. Marriage is scary. And I was just saying, I might just like have to be solo, Like, really, I was just thinking, like, yeah, to just go solo, man, because that's a scary thing, that's another story too. But that was my mindset right before I met my wife. So I felt like I rushed it. Yeah, no, I never felt rushed.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And read some of the comments. Sister Donita, amen. Preaching, amen. Yes. Walk Barbara Elijah, Sister Salima, praise be to Allah. Still love it. Beautiful. Good teaching. There's such maturity and strength in waiting. You are able to see the person and yourself clear when you are not blinded by the sexuality of the relationship. Dr. Carter, that's why chaperones are so important. My brothers and sisters in courtship. Thank you, Mimi. Mimi's mocking me for studying the pimps. Thank you. That's my sister. But Dr. Harry said, Josh the Iceberg Slim. Yes, sir. I'm aware of that. And Elijah says, beautiful responses, beautiful family. And thank you, Brother Elijah, for always watching the People's Podcast. My brother Rashad says, so that's how Umar pushed first and baseline in that heat all day. He was saying that brother. The question. Okay, Sister Miriam, the question is, Sister Mariah says, when you say she started to talk to you too young, how do you introduce that conversation to your daughter where the dialogue isn't awkward?
That is a really good question, because we're kind of going through that phase now. My husband and I, our oldest son is 11, and our youngest is about to be 3. And so I remember my mother very distinctively telling us the body parts, the names. If anybody touch you, this is what just everything. She was very, very thorough. And I asked her, because, you know, have my own children, I asked her, like, you know, how did you know that it was time? And she, one simple thing she said, and she said, when they come to you and ask a question. And I was like, oh, well, that was kind of like the light bulb moment right there, you know. So when my son came to me and he's, oh wow, this is happening, or I'm having I like this girl, or where the babies come from, you know, that was one that we got pretty early. And of course you want to keep it to their understanding, but you want to just not make it awkward. You know, you don't want to, when the child come to you and, oh mommy, I'm having this feeling or whatever, oh god, you know, you'll make them nervous. They can sense all of that nervousness. So okay, well, my oldest son is Isa. Okay, Isa, well, that's natural to have those feelings. When you get around a certain age, this is what happens, and this is a male, and this is how a female. So just, I would say, just introduce them um, the terms and everything for their age, you know. So that's how we just kind of been tackling it. It's awkward for me because I have children that old, and it's like, oh my God, I don't want to have to deal with this. Not now. But following in my mother's footsteps, I want to make them feel as comfortable as my mother made me feel. If I had any feeling, if any doubt, any questions, anything, I was able to come to her and she would speak to me on the in the understanding of my age, you know, and tell me what this is or what that is. So I think the best way to not make it awkward is just to have the conversation.
Beautiful. Excellent question. I'm coming to you all for the same thing because you all are fathers as well. And I can't stress the fact, first of all, I want to thank your mother, Sister Sandra Muhammad, for, you know, her rearing of you all, of course, both of your parents, but her reaching out to me and letting me know you all's story. And that's a beautiful thing. And apparently, I think that if she writes a book, it will be a bestseller because she did it. You know, she got proof with 3 children, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to your moms. And I'm coming to you, Brother Salahuddin, but I just want to say that when my mother I can't speak for my siblings, but when my mother had the conversation with me, it was always weird, it was always uncomfortable, and it was always awkward. So I'm glad that you all had the opposite effect of that because it was not smooth with me, so I hated talking about it. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk about it. So apparently you all's mother had a different approach because mine, it was not the same. So, but she was too upfront. That's what I'm saying. My mom, to me, my mom was telling me like, oh, because you know this and that, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So, Rasulawadi, what when is too young to talk to your children about it, or like what age will you talk to your child about it, about sex?
Well, I would just, you know, my answer would just be a repeat of what Mariam said, but you know, I say that, you know, soon as they start asking questions, you know what I'm saying? It's you know, I mean, it's like if you okay, let me put it to you like this. Children, they watch like rated G movies or rated PG movies, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, listening to a lecture by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is not rated R, and then at the same time is not rated G. You know, it's like rated real. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you gotta just keep it real. If you asking and you don't, even if it's he's so young to be asking, but if you don't answer it, he gonna be asking somebody else. And one of his little bad little friends or something. Yo, man, yeah, you gotta do this, man. Like, yo, this is what I do. You gotta do you want them to ask you and find out from you, or you want them to ask you and find out from somebody else their age that don't know what they talking about and wind up trying to get your children just because they're their own ignorance, getting your children involved in some stuff, and your children looking to his peer as the teacher because you won't talk to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I would just say that when they ask them where baby, I remember my father saying to me, like, it was like when I was hearing about it, I was, oh, where do babies come from? And he was talking about the sperm and the egg and stuff. It was like, you know, it was kind of a strange thing to fathom that young. I forgot how young I was when I asked, but it didn't damage me. It didn't do nothing wrong to me. You know what I'm saying? It's better that than telling me that a stork brought me in. You know, so that's my answer to it, you know.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful. Thank you all for your comments. And for you, Brother Umar, what age will you speak to your children about it?
Well, I'm a father to a daughter, just turned 1, November 5th. So I probably still got a lot of growing before I can honestly answer that question. and since my wife is present now, inshallah, she'll still be present later when those questions come. And you know, I'll probably swing that her way.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, I my mother just like Salahuddin said, she's always kept it real with us. I remember her asking us stuff. We'll go to somebody's house or somebody will come by our house or something. Oh, did that person touch you? Did they do anything to you? You know, she's kept it real. You know, it was never no filter. And so, you know, just having those conversations with her, you know, it's like the believers in the first resurrection. They were so tight because they were all that each other had. You know, so it was the same thing in my family. It was like when it came to this mission that we knew of people in our vicinity that was practicing this, we were all that we had, you know, and Allah gave us each other to strengthen each other. And so that's a blessing. And, you know, it never was uncomfortable for me. You know, I don't really know what it means to be uncomfortable to talk to your mother about sex, or it's actually more uncomfortable talking to my father because my mother did more of the talking about that type of stuff. So, you know, I think just bringing it to them, you know, like Salah said, you don't want the devil being your teacher, being your child's teacher, or you don't want them to inquire with you after something happened. You want to be proactive, not reactive. You know, I would assume, like I said, I'm a new father, so this is all just going off the top.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful. And I'm coming to you, all of you all's questions, because you all have the audience, of course, has a lot of questions. I just have to give our sponsors of this episode, this week's episode of the People's Podcast, all the sponsors who I'm very grateful of. 1 second. And thank my wonderful panelists for stepping up to talk about a subject that I have never heard people speak of in my entire time in the nation who've done it, especially a family of it. I mean, this is beyond me. All right. So anyway, Cash App, the People's Podcast. To help us keep, I want to thank my brother Rashad and his business partner Jamal, Street Premier Media Production. They have a 4K camera and they have a drone. They work on television, film, and music sets. Thank you. Reach out to them. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, both of which are on Amazon. Thank you, Mimi. Make sure you all go get that. My sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, as well as in state if you're in Georgia. Supreme Men's Clothing, Urban Wear. They do a great job of fashion. They're going to keep you dripping, and he'll ship his clothes to you all across the country. Thank you very much, sir. Raising Black Millionaires, Sister Tia Muhammad. She has flashcards for economic empowerment and development to young children. Thank you very much for your sponsorship. Brother Kenneth Muhammad, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He can ship bow ties to you all across the country. I'm coming right back to my wonderful panelists. Exodus, a new way of life, credit restoration. If you want your credit to be A1, reach out to them, as well as Khaliq's Boutique. They do great job, custom t-shirts, get your shirts done. And thank you all for when you send me shirts. Brother Chantel X, the X and Express, he hires truck drivers and they specialize in refrigeration. Thank you very much. I'm coming back to you all. Brother Jabbar Muhammad, Client First Construction, painting, carpentry, flooring, and plumbing. He's special. He works out of Chicago and the Memphis, Tennessee area. So if you all in both of those areas and need any of them, Brother Jabbar Muhammad, Dr. Henry M. Carter, King Henry's Turkey Legs here in Atlanta, Georgia. He was also in the comments earlier. Thank you, Brother Henry, for always showing love, Dr. Carter. Boom. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning service in the Chicago area. Reach out to him and he will make sure your business is clean and your home. My father's a soldier in the movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you very much, Dad. Last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are on Amazon. Thank you all very much. If you would like to donate to the People's Podcast, Cash App, the People's Podcast, to keep it on. Boom. All right. So right back to my panelists. Sister Mariam.
Yes,
Sister Mariam. Yes, ma'am. What can we do to better teach value of virtue? Like the value of virtue to young men and young women, to the importance of virtue. What advice would you give to them on that?
Well, I would say first it needs to be taught. I remember Minister Farrakhan said, back in the first, it was, a sea of versions. He's saying now it's like you can't find one. So like I go back to our break. I was telling my brothers about the time we did our Save Yourself seminar at Savior's Day. And we were talking to the youth there, and they were saying that, they go to their parents and say something, and it's taboo. It's like it's not meant to be talked about in the home. It's, that's just something that you and Allah are supposed to be, kind of deal with. So I think that in order to teach virtue, in order to instill virtue and the importance of it, is that it needs to be taught first. It needs to be taught in the home. And if not in the home, it needs to be taught in the mosque. That I've been to a lot of MGT classes and they talk about virtue, but never specifically your virginity and why it's important and how to save it and routes to, maintain that. Like I said, there's always something like, okay, yeah, go over there and deal with that. Or it was always expected of us, but nobody told us how to get to that point. When you get a new job, they expect you to make your quota. They don't just throw you on a line. They give you training first. This is what you do. This is how you do this. You get this together. And then they say, okay, go make your quota. We have to be trained. We have to be trained on how to start to talk to our children. We have to be trained on how to find like-minded people. And we have to be trained to be able to still give our children joy, so they won't go out into the world seeking that. I like my children with Christmas time and lights and gifts and everything. And, we taught that we don't celebrate Christmas. We don't celebrate Christmas. And so my children is looking like, okay, well, what do we get? But Savior's Day in my house, it's a real big thing. We got lights up, we got decorations, we got gifts, we wrapping them up and we putting them over a corner up under the Master Farad and Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan, and we're teaching them about them so that they won't feel like they're missing out on anything. So first, the meaning of virtue needs to be found out. What does it mean? And then from there, it needs to be some kind of class or some type of curriculum that can be taught in the mosque to the MGT, to the young girls, junior MGT, start that young. So by the time they get to their 16, by the time they get to 18, that's something that's already been instilled in them.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And once again, shout out to your parents and your mother for teaching you how to do this. You can make Savior's Day a big deal. Savior's Day is absolutely a big deal. In our house growing up, my mother did. I mean, it was a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It was gonna be some gifts. It was gonna be some parties going on for Savior's Day, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Brother Salahuddin. Now, when I first met the same person who introduced me to you and your brother, Brother Rashad, he was the first person I ever heard use the term like virtue for brothers, for men. I had never heard that. Like men, we supposed to hold ourselves to a virtue because it's always like the virtue is put on the woman. And in a wedding, the men can wear black, the women wear white, the women are pure. Brother Rashad was like stressing to us, like as the brothers, that we supposed to be virtuous. What advice would you give to the young men to have, control their virtue or to protect their virtue?
Well, the advice that I would give, I gotta say it because I know everybody's wondering. They may not ask the question, or you know what I'm saying. But the advice that I would give, first of all, and this is something that Minister Farrakhan said too. He said, willpower, right? Now, moving from that, you have willpower, so you made up your mind. Okay, I'm going to wait until I'm married. But man, I might have to, I was thinking I was going to be married at 19. And I went all the way to 26. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that happens that we may not talk about is urges that come. What do you do? What do you do? Do you go crazy? Are you going to go crazy and try to go grab a woman up, and you know what I'm saying? Or all these types of things. One of the things that you should do is express yourself. So when and I'm speaking from my point of view, I draw, and I'm gonna just keep it so real with you. When I would feel the way I would feel when these urges would come, I go draw a picture of a woman. I go draw a picture, man. My wife gonna look like this. She gonna look like that, man. Ooh, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or you may not be an artist. You can go write. My husband or my wife and such. Now it's private. It's your stuff. But your parents should understand it's better to do that than be looking at pornography. You know what I'm saying? And that's something, I will keep it real with you too. That's something that you, being in Satan's world, you know what I'm saying? I can't find a person that will say that they made it from a child to a man and say, I never looked at a pornographic image. Because even if you didn't go try to type it in, you on the internet, it just gonna pop up in your face sometimes. But if you get caught up in that, it can really do some damage. And you can actually become addicted to it. It opens you up for other type of visual freakishness. And you may know people who may look at this type of stuff. They might be into child pornography, into different pornography with animals and stuff. And you like, man, that's y'all, them boys sick, man. I'ma just look at my normal stuff, a man and a woman. And then the more you start looking at what you considering normal, you think is normal, the more it will open you up to what you consider as sick. You see what I'm saying? So it's best to leave pornography alone, and Allah will provide. If you on this journey, Allah will provide you with a stimulus, whether it's drawing, whether it's writing, whether me and Umar and my cousin, we used to just meet up and we just talk. Yo, man, when I get married, man, I'm going such and such and such, man. And that was a release for us. It was a release. And so you can't just act like it don't exist. We can't be up here telling you do this, do this, do this, and we didn't go into the aspect of expression when these urges come, because then it's like, well, okay, I'm trying this, but I feel like I'm going crazy. What do I do? They didn't touch on that. So these are things that you should do. And as far as, like I was saying earlier, as far as the restraint, the sexual restraint, even with yourself, even with nobody around, and you finding ways to release yourself. Y'all understand what I'm talking about, right? And I'm talking about in a way that it's like you by yourself and okay, I don't got a woman, but I have this. You know what I'm saying? that goes into, even when you practicing abstinence, you should strive your hardest to restrain from that as well. Masturbation. You should try your hardest to restrain from that as well, because that can actually be mastered. You can go to the point. See, you going from 13 to 26, 12 to 18, or whatever age before you get married, is this gap that you got to go through, and you don't have to masturbate. You don't have to do that. You see what I'm saying? And before you know it, your body will start to accept that he's not doing this, she's not doing this, and your body will adapt. It will find new ways to adapt, where now your little writings that you might do, your little talking about it, your little drawing it and everything, that will actually, and I promise you, that will actually become your release. So you won't even need a physical stimulus, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said earlier, and I'll be done because I don't want to take up too much time, there is also a way to take that sexual energy and turn it into raw physical power and spiritual power. And I've experienced both of them. So that will be my response to that.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. And thank you, sir. And thank you, my I'm coming to your comments before we come to Brother Umar. But Brother now you said this pornographic watching. I'm not familiar with that. Maybe I was sheltered. So you saying people were watching porno before they got married?
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, you a young man. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you on stuff on the internet. You this is what you're interested in.
Clearly, I know I'm messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you. I was just messing with you.
Man, I thought it was a joke, and so I started explaining. I was like, hold on.
I'm like, oh man, this brother righteous. He ain't never even looked at nothing, man. This brother from the mother plane. I'm like, man, you putting me.
I'm just messing with you, Slide.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, I'm just joking with you. Okay, Brother Umar, I'm coming to you, but I got to read some of the comments. Sister Sean Swella, Raven Muhammad says, train up a child in the way it should go, and when he is old, he will not part from it. Sister Donita Lake says, yes. Also teach them the value of healthy relationships. Brother Arvent says, that's so important to make our Islam enjoyable to our children. I'm learning so much from this. I thank you all for the panels. Thank you, Brother Arvent, for always tapping in and being on the show. Brother Yusuf Muhammad says, facts. Sister Donita Lake says, pornographic content will desensitize the true human element of intimacy. Sister Chancel said, excellent points. Yes. That's a whole other show, brother, and conversation that needs to be indulged in. Yes, yes. And then people people are laughing in the comments apparently at the joke. Okay, so Brother Umar.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Brother Umar. What y'all made me laugh in the comments, all these damn silliness. But I want to ask you the same I want to ask you the same question, sir. How can we, protect our virtue as men?
You know, sometimes I feel underqualified to speak on this topic, because once again, I have to say that coming up in the family that I did and in the household that I did, Allah blessed us to be third generation Muslims. And so when I had my brother in front of me and my sister in front of me doing the same thing, not only did I not have an excuse not to do the same thing, but I didn't even have a will to do something different. I've heard that you should teach the oldest child the right way, and that they will guide the other children. And that must be true, because it was like, my brother really took me under his wing a lot. And that was something that helped me. Well, like how he says expression, he would draw pictures. Some people might write. I would talk to him, and the fact that he knew exactly how I felt, that is what helped me get through. Of course, Allah, but on a everyday just talking to somebody note, he was definitely a pillar for me. And that was definitely something that helped me through it, because it was like, yo, Umar, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I've been through the same thing, you know. And it was like, for me, that was just a priceless gift for me. That was a priceless gift to come under people who had did the same thing. My sister did it as well by Allah's grace, but having a brother, you know, and she, I don't know how many years you are separated from me, Marianne, but me and Salah is obviously closer in age. And so that was you know, we were like solid, you know. And even though it's a 4.5 year gap between us, when you in Islam and you get these teachings, you know, age don't really mean that much of a difference, because we are wiser than our years from the teachings that the minister is given to us. And so me and him was just so tight through the whole thing. And that goes back to what Ryan was saying earlier, getting that circle of people who values the same thing that you value. And I remember my brother used to call himself a sin fighter. You know, he used to go around the house, yeah, I'm a sin fighter. And, you know, it's like silly, but it's like, if I was somebody, extended family, I'm like, yo, man, what's wrong with this dude, man? This man is gay. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably come at an angle like that. But being in that household, you know, you start to take pride in doing Allah's will. I also heard the minister say to teach your children to hate the world. And that's man, I came up really hating this world. So when I felt like I was different from the world, or I felt like taking pride in what Allah want me to do, that was the only sense of, I don't want to say importance, but self-worth that I felt, was trying to follow Allah's will. I was dumb. I mean, I was smart in school, but I wasn't popular. I used to think I was ugly. I low-key had no, not even low-key, high-key had a suicidal stage in my life for 2 or 3 years, where I was just feeling suicidal all the time. And the only pleasure that I got, it wasn't hanging with old boy down the street or smoking here, or, you know, no, it was doing Allah's will and feeling worthy in His eyes, doing something that made Him please me. And so I would say you got to surround yourself with the people that values the same thing that you value. And just like when there's somebody that's trying to get more money, you got to hang with people that's richer than you. So preferably, if you can get with somebody who's further in it than you are, or somebody who's deeper in it, or has more knowledge and experience, and surround yourself with those people, I definitely feel like, you know, it's no way to go but up by Allah's grace. So that'll be my advice.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. I just have 2 more questions for my esteemed panelists, and come right back. So Khadija, we still on. Okay, so my sister Miriam says, oh, this is my big sister Mimi. She says, my brother used to go around the house trying to fight me. Yours was a sin fighter. She feels robbed. Okay. Sister Sandra says she's so proud of my children, and she loves that they trusted her words and leaders, and are good examples of striving believers. Beautiful, Sister Sandra. Excellent. And thank you all. So many people in the comments. Thank you all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay. Sister Mariam, yes, the oldest of the squad. What is your favorite musical album of all time?
I can't say. Too many genres, too much music.
Can you give us one? Can you give us one? Can you give us your favorite right now? Like what you listen to? Give us one.
My favorite right now? Oh, I don't know. I'm stuck in the 90s right now. So
okay.
The Keith Sweat, the Genuine,
okay.
I'm there right now.
Okay, beautiful. And shout out to Keith Sweat. I think he's one of the best. People keep sleeping on him. All right. For Salahuddin, come on, let's get into it. What's your favorite album of all time?
Man, I'm a weird type person when so if you seen the anime series Attack on Titan,
okay,
they have an album. I have their album. It's like the soundtrack of the music. So that's probably a weird answer, but I can't help myself.
No, I mean that's man. Listen, you putting us on. I'm up on My Hero Academia, but I'm
Okay,
not up in
yes,
that.
sir.
But shout out to the soundtrack to that. All right.
Yes,
Brother
sir.
Umar, come on. Bro Umar, yes sir. Bro Umar, you got bars. What's going on? Let's get into it. What's your favorite hip hop? What's your favorite album of all time? Period.
Man, you know, as soon as you asked Mariam, my mind started racing. I really could not. I can't pinpoint one of them. It's like somebody that don't know nothing but boxing. That's all they talk about. Then you say, "What's your favorite boxer?" And it's like you space out. It's like you got so much knowledge of it that you can't grab onto nothing. But not to sound conceited, even if I do, I don't care. But anyway, I made an album.
Okay.
I made an album back in 2015 called Heaven Sent. And the album doesn't have the best production. It's not the best lyrically that I've done. You know, I've grown since then. But I feel like the story that it tells is really so much in it that if I could represent it to the world, I can't, I don't have the stems and everything, but if I could, I really feel like that would be my favorite album because of the depth of the story. But other than that, yeah, I can't really pinpoint one thing right now. That's crazy. I can't even think of nothing.
Listen, it's all good. I just want to thank you, my esteemed panelists, for coming on. You all did an amazing job. I had a quick something else I wanted to say. I love television, and on the television show Seinfeld, one of the characters stopped having sex, and when he stopped having sex, George Costanza, he got smarter because he was like the silly one, and then when Elaine started having the more sex she had with random people, she got dumber. You know what I'm saying? So I just thought that was pretty funny. And then, you know, if y'all watch Seinfeld, y'all should just know that episode. But it's a good episode. It's a good episode. So if y'all watch Seinfeld, y'all know the episode I'm talking about. Boom. I want to thank you all again. You all are represented in such a great way. I grew up in the Nation of Islam, and I've never seen this before. You know what I'm saying? The whole family come talk about something like this. So I want to thank you all for just representing by living your expression of Islam. So I appreciate that. Thank your parents. Shout out to your children, shout out to your family, and I look forward to interviewing the couples individually, just with Sister Mariam and her husband, Brother Salahuddin and his wife, and Brother Umar and his wife very soon, so I could
Right, yes, sir.
Try to get the individual love stories and how you all met and things of that nature. Thank you all, my people's podcast. Thank you for coming on. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Alaikum salam, sir.
Thank you. Walaikum salam.